right. So before we begin, can I just ask what your towards and away moves might look like over the next 20 minutes? So let's start with the towards stuff. So if this feels like a helpful, rewarding conversation that you're happy to be a part of, how will I know?
Emotions, probably. Just the feedback I'm giving you, like things like I'm feeling acknowledged, or I see things differently now, or yeah, you're right. I mean, with the phone, I was like, yeah, things like that.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. And if the opposite is true, if
connection as well.
Okay. Yeah. And if the opposite happens, like you think, "Whoa, this is a bad idea," and get me out of here. How will I notice that?
I think when I feel unsafe, too vulnerable, and I don't think that's gonna happen. But that's probably it, I think.
What do you do though? What would I see if you do feel unsafe or too vulnerable?
I think you would see it non-verbally, and I would talk myself out of it. I would try to bullshit my way out of it, I think.
Okay. Might you lean back with your arms crossed?
Yeah. Thank you for the great webinar. It was so great to meet you again, Richard. And yeah, we're gonna just cut the part with me in it and just leave the interview for something like that.
Okay. All right. And is it okay if I see any of that stuff? Is it okay for me to just bring it to your attention?
Do anything you want.
So what would you like to focus on for the next 20 minutes? I'm guessing we're going to talk about some kind of self story.
Yeah, I tried to really be open about everything and what I wanted to talk about, I think, and I don't really know who I am. I think that's my biggest issue. Mm-hmm. I don't know who I am, and I can't really relate to my parents. My father was a very evil man, and he died 5-6 years ago, but it still feels like he's like my roots are not who I am or want to be. Maybe I know too well who I am. I don't want to be who I think I am. And I have this idealistic idea of who I want to be, which is like some Superman guy who does everything right. So I actually I don't feel my roots.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I mean, what a wonderful thing that humans can do. Like we can compare ourselves to someone who doesn't even exist, like an idealized version of ourselves, and come up short.
Yes.
We can make a negative comparison to something that doesn't even exist. Yeah. I think my dog is not bothered by that kind of thing. Right? Just happily
I hate my own dog
getting on day to day.
He's so open, and he doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Really,
they're very good at mindfulness.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Very good at being where they are, and they don't worry about how their careers are going to pan out or whether there's going to be food in the bowl tomorrow.
Am I good enough? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So for you, there's a sort of, like, I suppose what I noticed as you were talking is this little, like, it's a bit of a mystery, a bit of something kind of missing, or like I
don't know who I am.
A formula that doesn't quite add up.
Yeah.
And like, whilst you're talking about a kind of like almost like a missing story, like a missing episode or something that's been wiped. In a way, I suppose I was thinking that is also a story, isn't it? It's like it's the I don't know who I am story. Right. Like you're supposed to have figured it all out, and you haven't, and there's some sort of negative judgment about that.
Yeah, sure. Just like you, I'm trying to discover who I am, and everybody I relate to, I don't want to be. Only my grandfather, but I never knew him. But every story I hear about him it's like, yeah, that's me. That's me.
Okay.
That's typically, I mean, even the things he said, I say them exactly the same. And so there was a big relief as well when I first heard those stories about him. And it was only 6 months ago for the first time that I heard stories about my grandfather. And I immediately thought, oh, I know that guy. That's I know a little bit of my roots, my genes. I don't know. I don't know how to. Sorry if I'm not coherent.
Yeah.
But it's the emptiness, and it's the not knowing or not wanting to know. Maybe that's really difficult. So I judge myself all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you feel like you like? I suppose, you know, tell me if I'm way off, but I guess what I'm picking up, which might be wrong, but is it just a sort of a sense of like a demand almost that I should know and I should figure it out. I should have some kind of coherent kind of narrative about who I am and
Yeah.
why haven't I sorted this out already?
Yeah, because there's a lot of emptiness and loneliness there.
Right.
Not knowing, and a lot of longing for belongingness, the connection and things I missed in my youth. And now I'm trying really hard to be a connective guy, but I often fail in doing that. And I see myself struggling, and I see myself wanting to be more, to do more. And every time it's not good enough.
Right. Okay. So it's so interesting how often it comes back here with people. That some version of this not good enough story, like I'm somehow lacking somewhere.
Yeah.
And in your case, it's a sort of I haven't figured this out. I haven't put the pieces together about who I am, and therefore I'm not good enough.
Therefore, I have to be some kind of super person, super villain, maybe.
Do you want to hear my Kelly Wilson impression?
Yes, please.
Okay. It feels relevant right now.
I'm probably going to laugh and cry at the same time.
Okay. You should appreciate your client as if they were a sunset and not a math problem.
That's really good. For people who know Kelly Wilson, it's really good impression. Yeah.
So what do you think Kelly's getting at when he says that?
About not being
So it's the spirit that I want to bring to this moment, right? Is to model that, which is that I would like to relate to you as if you were a sunset and not a maths problem. So I don't feel like I want to join you in the let's figure heist out story
narrative.
I would like to stand in front of you like I stand in front of a sunset, which is I don't stand there going, oh, it's all right, this sunset, but if only if it was a bit more pink up there and a bit more blue over there, it would be so much better. You know, I just sort of stand in front of the sunset and just go, wow, that's a beautiful thing. Right? It doesn't need figuring out. It doesn't need changing or fixing.
My mind is immediately going like, I couldn't be that. I couldn't be that.
Okay, good noticing. What do you mean you couldn't be that?
I couldn't be
what's
that.
Your mindset?
I couldn't be that constant. I couldn't be that beautiful. I couldn't be that pure. I couldn't be that not guilty. Is that? Something like that.
So I've introduced into our discussion the idea of you just sort of, well, through my eyes at least, you just being kind of okay as you are without, and I'm happy to relate to you as I find you, and I don't feel like I need a backstory, or I don't particularly need to figure out exactly what's going on and why. I'm just happy to be in your company. And I suppose I'm putting that out there to you as a somewhat provocatively, because I'm thinking that maybe if you could see me seeing you like that, maybe you could start to see yourself in the same way.
Yeah.
But I guess me putting that out there has made your mind kick off.
My mind is going, but my heart is going like, okay. So it's really, it's yeah. And I always had this, we talked about this, I mean, also with you, I have this like, well, he's one of the best therapists in the world. And so I'm always placing myself lower. And I hate that, man. I hate that. But it really, it's a beautiful thing. And thank you for seeing me like that.
You're very welcome. Well, how about...
I even believe you.
Good.
I even believe you. How do you do that? Sorry.
Well, how are you doing it? I think that would be the bigger question. I guess we're tapping into a part of you that believes it, right? That maybe you're okay as you are without the need to figure everything out. Maybe you could just put one foot in front of the other and do the best you can without having to worry too much about exactly where you come from or how it all fits together.
It's really interesting because I now constantly just see that sun going behind the water and knowing the sun is still there, like a constant.
Could we do something just in the last 5 minutes or so? Have you got a piece of paper and a pen?
Yeah.
So I wonder if you could, like, when this thing is at its worst, what's the and I don't want you to tell me, I just want you to write it down for yourself. But what's the worst judgment that your mind says about who you are? I'm going to write the same thing for me down. And I'm gonna model like how I carry this. So this, what I did, right? I immediately folded this piece of paper up. I wrote my worst judgment and I folded it up, and I'm going to fold it again, as if by some magic that if I didn't fold it, then everybody would read it. So because this is how I hold this judgment, and it's like I scrunch it up, and I, like if I had underwear, I'd put it in there. It's like I just want to. I want to kind of keep it away from other people, and I don't want anyone to see it. So this is kind of like how I hold my sort of shameful, judgmental story. Like, what's yours? Like, show me how you would carry yours. What is it like for you?
I think it would be like very strong. I would want to hold it because I would want to see it, so it doesn't slip away, that people can see it. But I'm gonna be like this, okay, and I'm gonna.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna be like this, like just to keep people at a distance.
Sure. Okay.
So like this.
Right. And so I'm like this. What do can I ask you, just for a really honest reflection, what is it like? So you've said some really nice things about me tonight, for which I'm very grateful. And I want you to know there's another side of me that you don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to know. And because if you did know, I'd find it hard to look you in the eye. And I walk around with this piece of me like this. What is that like for you to see me saying that there's a part of me that I don't want you to find out about?
Well, I notice you putting it, I mean, almost on your heart. So it has to be really close. It has to be really, really difficult, really personal.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be really protective about it, I think.
Yeah.
It has to be something big. And I think the way I feel is, I hope, not in a verbal way, you can forgive yourself, that's not what I mean. But I think I've already seen who you, I don't know you that well, but I'm just going to go on a limb here and say, I think I know you well enough to know that that's okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's interesting. So what I observed from you, if we could do this in another direction, is you're like this.
Yeah.
Right. Which is kind of like, it's like you're about to punch someone. It's like, back off, stay away.
Yeah, that's it.
I've got this thing, and you're not getting to see it. I don't want you to see it. And I suppose what I noticed was feeling kind of, I don't know, sad, like a little sad that on the one hand level, really, I felt really like you were doing a very generous thing for everybody, like sort of showing us that there's this other part of you that's hard, difficult to be with. But I felt sort of sad because my interactions with you thus far have been really quite open. And then there's this, now I sort of get to see there's this other part where you sort of wanting to keep people at bay. And what I felt was how tiring that must be.
Yeah. To
like keep people at arm's length like that. And I guess I felt sad that for someone who's just said you wanted to be really connected, that there's something about this that feels quite disconnecting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I noticed feeling quite sad about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sad about that too.
If you have another piece of paper there, would you write, because obviously you don't know what's on my piece of paper, so you're just going to have to kind of write something, just write Rich's pain or Rich's shame or something. If we were in a room together, what I would do is we would swap pieces of paper, but we can't do that, so we're just going to have to do something kind of similar. So I've got this other piece of paper, which is going to be Heiss's difficult thing.
Rich's big secret.
Yeah. So how would you, like, let's assume I shared that with you. How would you like to hold that for me? Show me how you would want to hold it.
I wouldn't even, I think I would do like so I wouldn't even make a little thingy out of it. I would be like, I think it would be like this.
Okay. I think I would be something like this.
Right.
So what I'm thinking of, what is like, when a little bird has flown into your window and it's outside and you want to go rescue it, and they're so light, aren't they? And you want to pick it up before the cats get it. And so it's like that kind of a thing. Like, this is a sort of delicate, precious thing that I want to hold. I want to keep it secure for you, but I don't want to squash it. I just want to kind of hold it and keep it, keep it safe. So So let me ask you, what is it like for you to see me holding your difficult thing like this instead of like this?
Scary. It doesn't feel like not safe or not good, but it's not. I'm not used to it. I'm not used to it, and I'm having the feeling like, okay, it's okay now. You can give it back now. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you for holding that.
Right. That you want to wrestle control back.
Therapy is over. Thank you. So
yeah,
I feel that, and I also feel. I think I feel a real connection with you now. I think, as before, I always had this connection with, oh, it's Richard Bennett. Oh, it's one of the best artists in the world. Oh, I'm gonna. So it feels really mutual now.
Okay. And I guess I feel something similar. Like you're holding my thing. You're like out in front of you. Like it's really far out in front of you, which is. It's sort of like you don't want to hide it in the same way that I want to hide it, which makes me, I guess what I feel is sort of like I'm getting a sense of acceptance off of you. Like this is an okay thing and you don't mind having it out front there.
Yeah.
You don't want to hide it away, which feels, scary. But also I feel quite moved by that. Like you would be willing to hold it out front for me.
Yeah.
That you're not as frightened or controlled by it as I am.
The feeling you're giving me is that I don't know what it is, but I know it's okay.
Well, that's interesting because I guess I'm having a similar thing. Like I don't care what's written on yours, right? I don't mean like I don't care. I care, but it wouldn't make a difference to me. I think is the point I'm trying to make. It wouldn't make a difference to how I see you.
Yeah.
Like I guess everybody has their things. They have their difficult things, and they have pieces of their history that they don't like, and it doesn't define you. It doesn't define any of us. So I'm going to ask you to do one last thing, which is to pick up the first piece of paper, your piece of paper, and you hold it like I was holding it.
Like you were holding.
Yeah. What would it be like for you to try carrying it like that? Scary. We've already established that.
Yeah. People then come pretty close. Just people are there. So
yeah,
I don't have it here anymore. I have it here.
If you could do one thing in the next week that was about you holding it like this and not like that, what might that thing be?
That is a really good question. I think I know, but I don't really want to share that.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, would you do one thing though? Would you?
Yeah.
Would you be able to commit, like make a promise to yourself, Mr. Sunset?
Yeah.
That you will treat yourself to that thing, whatever it is.
Definitely. I'm gonna tell you in private.
All right. You can. Why don't I tell you what? Why don't you email me when you've done it?
Yeah.
And if you want to tell me the details, you can. And if you don't, then you don't have to.
Deal.
Okay.
Thank you, Richard.
Anything you would want to say in conclusion? Just leave the last word to you.
Oh, well, I did this exercise with you actually in Seville, I think. And you did it with a secret. And then you really had the opportunity to just swap because we're not here physically now. and that also had a great impact on me. And also the sunset, I knew the exercise, but when you the way you were looking at me, it was like, then it really, it was like in my head I knew everything, but then because we were doing it, it was like just going into my heart. So, and it really felt like this. I never posed like this with my secret, and when I did this, I really thought, oh shit, this is really the way I do that. That's really aggressive. That's really, and the loneliness you described is really spot on. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. I hope it was helpful to you.
Okay.
and thank you. I mean, thank you for being willing to do that. I mean, what a cool thing that is, to being willing to show yourself like that in the interest of everybody else learning. So,
for the first time, treat my colleagues as equals.
Yeah. If people would like to offer Gijs any reinforcement in the chat, say thank you, then you are more than welcome.